and welcome to the Raw Review. We are the Dadley Boyz of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Havlet and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of Men in a Row. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review Raw, but also SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a mega quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, they're joined by Havlet and Sidgwick to review Raw and the build-up to Clash at the Castle.
This could be a troubling discussion, I fear.
It's not the go-home.
Yes, sorry, the go-home. Where are my manners?
I don't know.
I didn't think I liked this show.
What?
And then we talked about it briefly over the desks, and you reminded me what I absolutely should have done. And perhaps over the course of this review, I will reconsider. But as an experience, not a fun one. Liked the backstage segments a great deal. Didn't like as much of what was happening in front of the live crowd. Weird that the artificial noise they were pumping in for the clubhouse segments made for a bit more atmosphere than what was happening in the ring. So a very disjointed show in that regard. And like last week, although less impressively still feels short on the big names and big stars. Like they were getting away with it more last week. I'm not sure if that's just down to match quality, perhaps. Because there was two decent matches on the show. But there's that sense that if you got a ticket for Raw at the start of this year and you would have imagined the slate of wrestlers you would get to see this episode and last week's, you're kind of falling short of some of those very big names you would have imagined, and it felt like it dampened the atmosphere in general. Not enough of the
Not a great
people
crowd, no.
Well, no, but
not a good show.
Never blame crowds.
I loved the show. I had a great time watching this.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't blame crowds across the piece. Like it's the product. If the product is good, the crowd will get loud. Even quiet crowds will have their moments. And there are a couple on here, but they'll find a bit more atmosphere to carry them across the night if the product is there for them or the stars are there for them.
Yeah, I just didn't. The atmosphere was like really. It just helped me. Just removed me from everything. There was. I tell you what, though, there was one segment on the show. Dare I use the word deft? To describe it. We'll get to that.
Oh, time.
Yeah.
So Drew McIntyre opens the show, comes down to the ring. We get the CM Punk chance, of course, but he says he's not focused on anything else other than being the new world champion in 5 days at Clash at the Castle. He said, look, wherever Damian Priest goes, Judgment Day is scurrying right behind him. And, of course, that brings out Damian Priest and the Judgment Day. Say his name and he appears, says Pat McAfee.
Oh, my God.
You're telling me there's a chance. So out comes Priest, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough, and of course, collectively, they're in the f***ing Judgment Day. Yeah.
Almost wanted to do it, then I realised kind of hate it. Kind of hate the old Judgment Day now.
I think they're back. I think they might be back.
Priest said McIntyre still making excuses, making things personal. You're the one who made it personal, he says. I'm not holding the Judgment Day's world title. This is my world title, and I'm going to put you down at Clash. I don't need any help of them to help me remain champion. I'm champion because I'm Damian Priest. And McIntyre fires back saying the only reason you've got a chance at retaining is because of Balor and JD and all the involvement of that. And he's like, give it a rest. Look, I'll make it simple. How about you fight Finn Balor tonight? If you win, Judgment Day are barred from ringside on Saturday. But when Finn wins, that means they can all be there front and center to watch me beat you in Scotland. And McIntyre accepts, saying, you better be ready to shake my hand next Monday after I humiliate you at Clash at the Castle. And McIntyre walks off, telling him to hit his music.
I don't mind what they're saying, but it's just all a bit tweener city, this was. They've skirted the line up until this point, but I think it was because they used the stipulation and Damian Priest, they're right there, the group that's surrounding him, and he's telling them, yeah, they're my mates, but I don't need them, they suck, right? Because he's trying to be this like tweener half heel, but also he's kind of a babyface waiting to break out from his heel group. Meanwhile, they've got Drew McIntyre, who I understand they're setting up for one night at least to be the biggest babyface in the world, but it should be one night and not two. There was a sense here to move Drew towards that at the last minute, and I didn't think that was necessary. I don't think Glasgow will need this Raw to be reminded, oh yeah, we can cheer him. Like he's our hometown guy having his big moment. I think they would have just done that anyway. And I think what they've been doing with Damian Priest and Drew up to this point it's not been like mind-blowing, but it's been pretty solid. I think it's helped Damian Priest feel credible because he's been able to talk down to a Drew McIntyre a little bit. And here, I just thought neither could be the committed heel, neither could be the committed babyface. And the words felt rang a bit hollow as a result.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to stand up for WWE.
Finally.
I'm going to stand up for WWE here. I understand why they did this, I think. The idea is, well, spoiler alert, Drew McIntyre won as he should have. The Judgment Day are barred from ringside. There will be no interference in the match, ... from the Judgment Day. This was a way to... I don't know what they were doing with this. I think the idea is they want you to have the same thought I did, which was, all right, well, that means CM Punk is going to make his presence felt. Do they have such contempt for your intelligence that the idea is, well, it's going to be clean as a whistle? Or are they inviting you to think, oh, that means, well, the Judgment Day can't interfere, but Punk can? Generously, I'll think, or say rather, that they want you to now think, right, how does Punk factor into this? If you weren't thinking of that already, right? I'm probably excused from the preview. Clash at the Castle.
Yeah.
I mean, was there any plans for me to be on it?
Well, we can do it when... I don't. It all depends on timings later on this week.
Yeah, I mean, we're very busy.
Yeah.
All the rest of it. So should I just tell you my pitch for...
Go on, yeah.
Please
I'll
do.
tell you it now, okay? The whole idea is that Drew is completely obsessed with and preoccupied by CM Punk. CM Punk cost him the World Heavyweight Championship. Before that, he was just delighted that CM Punk, who's been this toxic influence and will only sort of like hold him down, he's gone now. And, he prayed for it and it happened, and then he's become obsessed with the idea. Why does he hate CM Punk so much again, other than WrestleMania? Why did he hate him before?
He hated how much of a hypocrite he was. They're booing me when really, and they love you. How's that?
That sort of
all
thing.
the things you did to me.
a Scotsman?
Correct.
That was the story.
I love the idea at Clash at the Castle, not of CM Punk interfering and costing Drew the title, and then that way you get that pro wrestling. You can have both when one will be better if it's the biggest, where, for example, Damian Priest can work Gunther at SummerSlam or whatever. I like the idea of CM Punk hitting Damian Priest with the go to sleep, with the idea of Drew initially going for that cover and then the near fall of, no, I cannot have it. I can't have CM Punk having anything to do with this whatsoever, even if because he'd never let me live it down if he's just put it on a plate for me. At the very least, he can do that spot, subvert the expectations for an unbelievable like near fall or a bit of that sort of trademark WWE big match melodrama. That doesn't necessarily have to be the finish, but I like the idea of that happening. But yeah, I think this was a basic 1 week device that doesn't really... I don't think they were trying to babyface Drew, even though the dynamic will work so much better on the night than it does on television, which this feud has been undermined by this sort of... It's one of the weird... The only bad byproduct, really, of this unbelievable, shrewd promotional tactic to do all of your B-show filler / slop in these white-hot international markets, which has been a masterstroke. It truly has. This is the one time where the TV hasn't been able to do much with it, or like it's actually undermined the television. But yeah, I think the idea here was not that they need to sort of clarify the dynamic or impose on it a babyface heel sort of binary thing. But I think the idea was, right, okay, we're doing this to open the door for CM Punk to do something in Glasgow.
In the absence of...
The verbiage of the promo was just, I'll never remember these words in 1 million years.
Who's going to win on Saturday?
Gunther complicates things I will defend WWE here. Gunther winning King of the Ring complicates things in a very, very interesting way, because Gunther versus Priest, it feels like Tweener City, Tweener 2 seasons, if anything, spring and summer.
Priest as a full babyface trying to brave it alone, wouldn't you? Yeah.
And then Yeah. So you could do that. Or, I tell you what, like, Paul Levesque has done some decent booking, I will tell you that. What if they've always got Gunther versus Randy Orton in the back pocket? Mm-hmm. The idea was, right, okay, we're going to do a controversial referee makes an error finish. What if they renege on the stip and maybe WWE has built up enough goodwill and have it so that, right, at SummerSlam it's going to be Gunther versus Randy 2, and that would clear the way for Punk Drew for the belt. Mm-hmm. There's lots and lots and lots of options here. But I don't know, actually.
I think it's really unpredictable.
Yeah.
Like,
in a really good way as well.
The
drama on the night's going to be out of this world. I'm still watching the Euros.
part of me thinks, like, Drew McIntyre doesn't need the stadium. He needs that. You know, like, they kind of got both at WrestleMania, didn't they? Finally got that stadium moment. He's on his knees holding the belt, only to lose it. But the moment is what you remember, and he'll be just as proud as that as anything.
Yeah.
The story's more than
the rest
title.
of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
This night is the rest of it. This building that's going to be white hot from that Punk thing you described goes down great because people in the building are like, take this opportunity, and he's going to be the one in front of all of his people going, I don't want to though, because he's the one that's like laid it on a plate for me. So I love that as a way to potentially create the drama, but I keep going back and forth on the decision.
CM Punk, huge fan of Bret Hart. Mm-hmm. What if they do SummerSlam 97?
Oh my God.
I'm not saying he has to be the referee, but he can come in.
Borrow from the greatest finish ever.
The greatest finish ever of all time. The finishes in 1997 Fed
next level
made me feel like Michael Hamflett. WrestleMania, SummerSlam, even Bad Blood, even Kane.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the way they nailed it. Yep.
The finishes in that goddamn promotion in 1997 were out of this goddamn world.
It's why I keep saying 2023, because that was where the money was actually earned. Like those sort of shows is where they're like when it finally boomed, it was like that's where the money was really made. Bret wasn't getting his residuals down in the WCW, but he earned them. Like they were amazing.
So Punk can hit Priest and Drew. I don't know. He can do it and just spit in. There's so many finishes you can do. Yeah. Punk could go for Drew, have him beat Priest, and then Punk's like spitting basically, like really pissed off that third count of, oh, God damn it, I've just given him the title. And like Bret was so matter of fact with it. He's like, I'll take it. You know what? It was screwy, but I've been screwed enough. And Drew is pretty much the new Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And then Drew might be even better justifying in his own mind why he deserves it and why it was fair and square.
Yeah.
I've talked myself in.
That was the least you could do for me, Phil.
Yes. That is, I want the 1997 finish now. But I've just booked two great options, so take your pick.
but like, again, we talked about this on, I think it was like yesterday or the Raw review last week. Punk might not be there. They've not advertised him.
This was surely an all but.
Booking invites you to think with No Judgment Day, there's only Punk that can really run in, or only him.
Can he
that
tear
makes
himself
sense.
away from NXT? That's what I
But
want.
this is the thing. Again, they could just go straight route one babyface win for Drew as well. But then you've got Cody, who's almost certainly going to give the crowd a nice babyface title win. It's gripping. It's again, there's a lot around it.
Just sing Sweet Caroline at the end.
Ugh. That's the thing.
His world title picture on Raw is really good.
I'm getting literally jazzed thinking about which finish they could do and how CM Punk plays into it. And I talk about it again, the experience versus permutations of WWE. I wish they could find a way to make the television much more interesting, because if you look at like Damian Priest's character before WrestleMania and how it was presented, he's going to win the title. Then you get the most electrifying angle at WrestleMania. We could be in for a repeat here. Where is this?
Clash at the Castle.
Correct.
Then we go back to the Judgment Day's locker room. Dominik Mysterio's there. So's Liv Morgan.
Oh my God.
And she says she wants
Why
to...
did he press the button?
Just great to see her on screen.
Mad into the storytelling.
She's she was out with injury. Just happy to see her back.
Been back for a while, though.
Yeah, just flexing her muscles when it comes to promos here. She said she wants to see Dom later. And she thinks he wants to see her too. She offers him her hotel key.
Watchers.
He doesn't want anything to do with her. He doesn't want anything to do with the hotel key. And she says, a gorgeous man like you shouldn't be with a woman who makes you call her mammy. A gorgeous man like you should be with a girl who calls you daddy. And she gave him the hotel key.
Oh my God.
Class. The whole story of this show.
This is wrestling. This is the proper stuff.
All right, Jim Ross.
This is what you watch
Yeah.
wrestling for. I know. I don't know. I want to pass comment on the end, I think. By the way, this is a show-long story that...
Sorry, is this a Fight TV picture-in-picture break in 2020?
Why?
You're just getting horny on
Horny
you?
on main.
I'm just saying I enjoy this angle. I'm not getting aroused.
I call the action, dude. Call me dude.
Iyo Sky versus Lyra Valkyria came next. The rest of Damage Control are out there as well.
Oh, sure, what's that?
Valkyria beats her up a bit. Referee breaks it up and Sky takes advantage. But Sky's running charge gets dodged. Somersault from Valkyria. Drop kick, bridging suplex. Valkyria caught her in I don't know if this is a technical term or not, but I've seen it described as this, rocking horse hold in the middle of the ring.
I can get that, yeah.
Sky rolls outside, stops the drop kick from Valkyria though, hits a moonsault to take us to break. When we come back, Valkyria hits a nice springboard crossbody. Top rope missile drop kick gets a near fall. But Sky comes back, sending Valkyria into the middle turnbuckle, hit a backbreaker. Valkyria dodged a moonsault, tried a flash roll up. Valkyria hit her with the Nightwing, but Dakota breaks up the count behind the referee's back, so Valkyria goes out after Dakota Kai and Kairi Sane. And that allows Sky to recover. She hits the corner Meteora, sets up for the moonsault again. Valkyria blocks that with her knees, tries again for the Nightwing, but Sky pulls Valkyria's hair, rolls her up 1, 2, 3. Post-match, Kai and Sane do a bit of a beatdown, and Io's like, I fancy a bit of that, actually. Really lays it in. But before they can do any more, straight from the club come Katana Chance and Caden Carter to make the save.
A tough watch on account of the silence. Like, there's no getting around it. It was awkward at points because I thought the work was pretty good. So it was a bit frustrating where you're like, oh, they probably should have come up for that, and nobody came up for anything really in any of this. Not even that sort of traditional WWE last minute and a half. They've been given the signpost that the finish is on the way, you're going to see some reverse roll-ups, whatever. Not even that could generate any noise here. Lyra Valkyria, in NXT, I enjoyed her because she was half bird, half person. She's quite a good wrestler.
She always has been.
She's
one of the more experienced. She's always been like mechanically.
This main roster run, like I feel like
she's always been good.
I was under the impression that like we were seeing like a bit of like dark art stuff from Becky Lynch, some proper like development in developmental with Lyra Valkyria, and that was about the extent of it. I thought this main roster run could be.
She's done some geek off the street.
She's not had like a bad match yet. This was bad in terms of you're supposed to entertain an audience, and this crowd were bored rigid.
There's more experience than a lot of them.
Yeah, like this was like good. I quite liked her sort of like her submission game looked good here, and like I really like a transition she kept up with like Iyo Sky, and that's no mean feat. And I was really impressed by it, and nobody in the building cared, which isn't ideal.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say?
Good chemistry, these two.
They've got good chemistry, but you get that philosophical thing of, well, what makes a good match? Because the moves were well performed. There was like a sense of, there was a sense of intricacy to the back and forth and all the rest of it. But if no one gives a rat's ass, and this sort of standard of athleticism and like mechanics and moves and all the rest of it, it's just so prevalent now and so familiar, and we're spoiled by it. This is the sort of match where you think, was it good? We have to redefine what a good match is. And I mean, they're grafted, but no one give a toss.
We go back to Judgment Day's locker room. Dom gets met by Finn Balor, Carlito, and JD McDonough, and he's like, oh, you won't believe what's happened. Liv Morgan was here, and she gave me a hotel room key. Carlito goes, that's cool. He's like, not really getting the vibe of all this, but credit again.
Carlito had a good week this week.
Carlito, apparently, according to Jim Ross, had a good run back in the day, so of course he's going to get excited by stuff like this.
I also like the little weighing scales with the Rey Mysterio figure saying like, I'm a knobhead, me, or whatever it said.
Didn't say that.
Tickle me. Good. And also shout out to the cinematography of Monday Night Raw. Poster of Rhea Ripley just over Dom's shoulder. Nice. Cine, as I like to call it.
As you like to call it.
Miz is looking for R-Truth backstage.
I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards.
But he bumps into Sami Zayn. Miz heads off to try and find truth. And Zayn bumps into Maxine Dupri and Akira Tozawa. Apologise for what happens last week. Maxine says that I've been better, but it's okay. Sami says, you see what happened last week? And Maxine says, yes. He says, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but you really don't have to take this. Otis walks in, tries to apologise, saying basically he lost it last week. Zayn understands his plight, though. He talks about how he lost everything, the Money in the Bank briefcase, his peach, Tucky. Oh, nice hearing them again. And without them, he was nothing. Now he's got a family, though. Chad Gable and the Alpha Academy brought him new meaning. Sammy's like, that's not true. That's Chad Gable poisoning your mind. Do you know how special you are, how you could be? One day, I hope you see it for yourself.
Right, this was WWE having the cake and eating it too here, because it was a good segment in theory. Like, did you see last week? It was an obvious accident. You know that I'm the good guy in all of this. You don't need to live this life of torture under Chad Gable. But by acknowledging that they did all watch it and in fact saw that it was a mistake, could Chad Gable just not watch this? And then be like, what are you doing talking to him? Like they're acknowledging the rules in order to make sense of the characters and then breaking the rules in the same segment. And I found that a little bit frustrating because otherwise I thought it was quite good of Otis to finally explain what it is that's keeping him on the hook. Like, yeah, it's easy to forget that nothing was really happening for Otis until Chad Gable came along and he was just the latest in a line of partners that Chad Gable has legitimised all over again. And that was nice. I appreciated that and I can buy it for the Alpha Academy, but they were just trying to play with... It's that stupid hidden camera thing. Sometimes you can get away with. It's like this Judgment Day thing. Like they're talking openly about Liv Morgan's secret plan in a clubhouse that we can see completely, but nobody seems to care about that. So fine, I'll buy that one. But in a segment where you acknowledge, well, you can see what's going on because you watch Raw, right? Well, Chad Gable watches Raw too. Yeah. Good otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, do they get marks of trying? No. No, they don't. You have to be a certain character to work in pro wrestling to be perfect. And I don't expect Raw to be perfect. The only, the best examples of storylines, and it's quite unfair because they're three of the best of all time, where it's like the characters involved can watch it all back, and if anything, that would confirm to them what's going through their minds. Like Brett versus Owens, the absolute perfect one for this, because the motivations were such, and Owens' psyche and bruised ego was such that even though, you could watch Bret Hart at the 1994 Royal Rumble be visibly in agony, because of where Owens' character was, he would still say, oh, look, he doesn't have any respect for me. He's trying to fight. You could attack me in there, and there, and there.
Hogging the spotlight.
Yeah, hogging the spotlight. It's the same with your favourite and mine, that Hangman Page. Hand on the rope, buckshot. No, I'm just letting you out. It's like you could watch that back, and if you're Kenny Omega, you think, was he going to... No, obviously not, because he did that. Like, wrestling is a medium, especially North American episodic TV. Just kind of sucks. And you have to roll with the punches. Unless you're the Elite.
Or NXT. We return to the Judgment Day Clubhouse. Damian Priest comes in. Saw that with the...
That's the worst example ever.
Roll with the badly worked punches.
Yeah. Roll with the mafia hits.
Priest asking about his hotel card. And it's gone. Priest's like, where's it gone? Dom's like, I don't know. In your pocket, Dom. I don't know where it is. Come on. We get a promo from Ludwig Kaiser. So he's not just a mouthpiece. Talks about beating Sheamus. They intersperse it with footage, obviously. He's not going to be taken lightly anymore. He's destined for greatness. He belongs at the top, and anyone who dares oppose him will be illuminated. And he, puts his name in the hat for Money in the Bank, basically.
Yeah, fair enough. As good a candidate as anybody. Again, Money in the Bank should be perfect for WWE these days because they are very good at establishing a proper mid-card again. Triple H can't always choose who his actual top guys are, but there's a raft of guys that are right thereabouts. Should be a strong field.
Yeah. I don't think he's one of the stronger candidates. Like Jey Uso and LA Knight are probably better Bron Breakker in terms of the booking and how seriously I take them. Relax, man, relax. I'm trying to talk.
Bron Breakker.
Yeah, I know, I get
so
it. I know, I
much.
get it. Yeah, I know. I
Went a bit Booker T there, though, didn't I?
A little bit, yeah. Kaiser isn't on that level. I would never buy him winning. But a great showing in this match won't help him one bit, and he's an excellent, excellent pro wrestler. So he will add to the match quality, which, given that I've just mentioned the names LA Knight and Jey Uso,
you're gonna need those guys.
You're gonna need them. You're gonna need
some generals out there.
You're gonna need a Ludwig Kaiser.
Really fun match next. The LWO and Braun Strowman versus the Judgment Day and Carlito, I suppose, technically. I'm not sure if he's an official member or not.
Loved him in the entrance, trying to be an official member and then absolutely shitting himself at the pyro.
Brilliant. Stuff. And also, there was an Uncle Howdy QR code. It's going to be next week.
Basically. It is, yep. Put the countdown on now. Next Monday. Oof. It's going to feel big this time next week.
What's it going to look like?
What we're talking about? I zoned out.
Nightwing. No, not Nightwing.
Nightbird?
That's Lyra Valkyria's finisher.
Yeah,
Nightbird, the Uncle Howdy. This time next week.
Yep.
So Carlito tries to attack Strowman, just gets hoyed for his troubles. Carlito tags in Dominik, but he immediately tags out when he realizes his dad's going to be there. Although, I think this was the point Michael Cole got really confused. And he was like, Dragon Lee's in there. Wait a second, no, that's Rey Mysterio.
Quite a compliment, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
To old Stemmy C. Rey Mysterio. Kind of Dragon Lee in a way. Take more of them.
Dragon Lee's dominating. Dominik drops him on his head behind the referee's back, though. Tags in. Mysterio eventually gets caught by Judgment Day on the outside and gets used as a weapon towards Dragon Lee, basically, to take us to a break. When we come back, it's Mysterio, Rey, I should say, and Carlito in there. They're both trying to get to their corners. Carlito brings in McDonough, and they just isolate Mysterio for a long time here. They keep trying to get over to Braun. He keeps getting pulled off the apron and things like that. Mysterio hit a DDT on McDonough, and he manages to bring in Dragon Lee, who does that awesome high-flying stuff that he can do. He gets Carlito in the Tree of Woe and does the stomp off the top. McDonough breaks it up at 2, though. Dom drop kicks his father to the outside, and then suddenly, she's there. Liv Morgan is on the apron, and he's like, go away, you, go away. But she gets knocked off the apron by Zelina Vega and straddles Dominik Mysterio.
She tripped, fell, and landed on his dick.
Yep. That's what happened.
It was Braun Strowman.
Did he say?
Just trailed off.
Braun Strowman finally gets the tag and just runs wild. He's just tag, choo-choo, let's go, runs through everyone at ringside. And he hits a running power slam on Carlito and then tags Dragon Lee in, and he does the thing off Strowman's shoulders. 1, 2, 3. Fun match. Good result. Even better with the post-match celebration where he raised Zelina Vega's arm and she went, ugh, like that.
Honestly, on a card with Dragunov and Bron, which had a couple of moments that were, oh my God. As a match, I think this was probably the best this Raw had to offer. It was very Butlins at points, but it was absolutely what this crowd seemed to want. And
I loved it.
It's what we were just talking about. Sometimes you got to wrestle for that crowd and try and find what it is they want. Rey Mysterio's timeless quality. Braun Strowman's equally timeless quality, I suppose. This unique ability he's got to just get this sort of style over. There was a bit of a...
Should have given him a mask, shouldn't they?
Well, yeah, they just made him feel part of the team. It was a little bit, have a look at what you could have won to Ricochet, this, wasn't it? Because it's like, well, we're never going to put them together again, but look how easily he pairs with guys just like you. And like, you know, maybe Dragon Lee could be thinking, well, I suppose it could be worse. I might jump off his shoulders for a career. Like, this got pretty hot. Like, Dominik Mysterio being back was a massive help. Like, he gets things over, and like, he's vital for WWE in that respect, because not all matches will go over, and Dominik Mysterio will find a way through his unique ability. Just be right wanker, mate. Like, it's, again, I'm just speaking of timeless qualities. So I say Butlins is because they would do the stomps and the claps, and should I get him? And sure enough, the people would say, yes, get him. And then they'd get their noise. And that's what this was. And I appreciate it for that. And then I had the stuff from like Braun, like, everybody with me is really small, like illustrated through like Vega and finally being like lifted half off the feet when he just raises his arms and joy. I was into this. Bollocks this. I liked it.
Good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's deft.
What? Say that again?
It was deft.
Once more?
It was deft,
Yes!
really. I really liked how this overlapped between Strowman and JD McDonough / the Judgment Day, and how it brought in Liv Morgan in a hysterically contrived spot, which is basically dry humping Dominik Mysterio to advance. Yeah, the nice little payoff with Braun Strowman, because you want that little prick JD McDonough like done in, basically. I hate him. And you do that, and you drive forward this quite hot, I guess, not like that, you pervert, Liv Morgan, Dominik Mysterio thing. I mean, it's hysterically contrived, but like it was just I guess it was like the gumption of how they did that spot was, you know what, that's I mean, there's some flair to that.
Yeah.
There is some flair. It's not just these scripted promos where it's like that WWE creative writing style where it's like one thing. I'm gonna play on that word you've just said. Like earlier in the night with her, you should be like no one. You shouldn't be calling anyone mommy. In fact, you should be calling someone should be calling you daddy. That's the prototypical WWE scripted promo. Like doing really cool angle advancements mid match, being resourceful and just. It's an opportunity to do some like bustling activity and some flair there. There was, dare I say, a bit of dynamite energy to all of this, and it was the best thing on the show for my taste as a result. And I'll tell you what as well. I would describe this match as an AEW party match on the lower end of the exhilaration and quality of work scale, obviously. And thanks to Carlito, it was a 20-minute WrestleMania Triple H match. Wedged in the... I went on for bloody ages, didn't it?
God, this was better than that, wasn't it?
Not the Carlito bit.
No, but like just as a Raw match, this was better than like half of the WrestleMania mid-card stuff.
Yeah, of course it was.
Like there's more going on. There's more
Remember
to
Triple H versus Seth Rollins? 2 years went into that. 2 years on that Raw program was dedicated to Seth being like negged and the whole point. Oh, he's going to have a match with Levesque then, isn't he?
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen.
You know what's better than an Indian Deathlock? An Indian Deathlock on the floor.
Yeah, I know.
What?
It's like the Saraya table logic. Yeah. It hurts more. I mean, I get it. There's no rope.
Now get back in the ring. You don't want to win by count out, no, because you're the game, you're the ass kicking.
Like the amount of like the Seth Rollins' entire like you're our child basically. You are the large adult son of the fact game.
Yeah.
Is that what they called them?
Fact sheam?
Fact sheam or whatever it was. Aye. Crap.
Yeah.
This is good, though. I like this. I had fun with this.
Joe didn't even make it on the show, did he? Joe was like Triple H's killer. Not you. No, it's my night. It's my night. 30 minutes, just me and Seth. You can come back after WrestleMania.
If anything, I'm a submission machine. Check this out.
Indian Deathlock. So these biceps, muscles, Buster.
Next on Raw, we got a promo from Ilja Dragunov. Well,
my God.
A promo from Ilja Dragunov. So the Mad Dragon said he was going to make Breakker suffer. So he said, he'd say you're going to make Breakker suffer.
Oh, so I'm just parrot. Okay, start again. As I was going to say, very entertaining. Yes. So, but I don't understand what you're saying. Yeah, say it again.
The Mad Dragon said he's going to make Breakker suffer.
I will make Bron Breakker suffer.
And he wasn't going to stop until he was done breaking him.
I'm not going to stop until I'm Bron Breakker. I hate my life.
I like that. Oh, what? What? Confused Dragunov.
What?
You haven't got a match this week. What?
He's very confused. He needs some post-nut clarity, so I suggest him getting beaten up.
That's it. So it's a concerto and everything.
Oh, God, yeah.
Backstage after this, Ricochet's there to give Dragunov a bit of a pep talk before his match. And Dragunov said he's going to slay the beast tonight.
I'll slay the beast tonight.
And then we'll go another round.
I'll go another round.
It's good.
That's
good stuff.
It's not great stuff, though, is it?
Following on from this, Iyo Sky screams, pulls her hair out, and tells Dakota and Kari that damage control have got to change.
She's not wrong.
Sami Zayn comes out, grabs the mic, talks about how the past couple of weeks have been a messed up couple of weeks ahead of his match, his IC title match against Chad Gable on Saturday. Something so personal got turned into something he can't quite describe after all of Gable's machinations and manipulations of Alpha Academy. On Saturday, he's going to defeat Gable though and put an end to all of this. But here comes Chad Gable and Alpha Academy. Gable says, oh, typical Sami Zayn, trying to interject yourself into everyone's business without asking. Alpha Academy, they're all happy. Just look at their faces. And we're a family, blah, blah, blah. And by winning the IC title on Saturday, it's going to make them even happier. And Zayn was like, are they happy? Are you happy, basically? Gable doesn't care about any of you. The fans care about you the most. You'll be happiest once you leave Chad Gable once and for all. Gable says, shut up! I'm going to unleash the version of Otis that didn't care about showing any remorse for anything right at this moment, or immediately after the commercial break.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Well, I'll talk about this after the Wild match.
Because Otis does, when we come back, start battering Sami Zayn in the corner. Gable's barking out orders. Otis splashes Zayn. Gable's like, again, another. And then Gable jumps up on the apron and yells at him, but obviously that distracts him. Sami Zayn recovers and nails Otis with a haluva kick to get the 1, 2, 3. Post-match, Gable jumps in and attacks Sami Zayn, holds him up, tells Otis to hit him. Again, Otis hesitates, so Gable shouts at him and slaps him around. Otis fires up and then runs into Zayn in the corner, hits him the world's strongest slam. Gable tries to be like, yeah, this is my guy. And Otis turns on him and rips off the shirt, and Gable sort of cowers in the corner. And Otis looks like he might finally lay hands on Chad Gable, but he's conflicted and he just storms off.
Not bad. This would have been pretty much the exact finish. I think we probably all talked about the idea that Chad goes too far in trying to get him to do the damage and then costs him the win. I just think they've stretched this premise as far as they can. Yeah. Like the idea that Otis is still following the orders, the idea that Chad's even delivering the orders when Otis is getting on fine. It's that thing really frustrates me. Like, it's just because wrestling.
It's contrived, isn't it?
Yeah, really.
They're doing things for an end.
And
that's it.
You're going to get weeks.
Even if it makes no sense and makes some of the characters look dumb as hell.
You're going to get weeks like last week where it just felt, for a moment at least, like the hottest thing in the whole company. And people responded perfectly to it, really, in terms of that bit when Otis stands in front. That was the Sami getting his T-shirt torn off moment of this story, really, when Otis blocks Chad's path. You think, here we go, and that massive response. And then, this week just felt a little bit of an inferior
One week too long.
A little bit. And just, again, I cannot stress this enough. I think it becomes bad booking if Chad Gable loses at Clash at the Castle.
Yeah, he should win.
I think if Sami Zayn wins, there's no justification for Otis to continue to tolerate the abuse. Chad himself should be thinking, why have I've got other friends. I've made an allegiance with the Creeds. Why am I actually clinging on to these losers? Like, no character kind of makes sense at that point other than Sami Zayn is like, well, I'm a good guy and I try to be a good guy and help the situation, get my title and on with my business. Like, Chad feels like he has to win otherwise. When this dissolves, which I think will be Monday, maybe, like Alpha Academy, like it'll feel a bit hollow. I think if Chad hasn't actually won a belt out of all of this.
Yeah, I've really soured on this, man. I've really soured on this. Like, at WrestleMania, and I was honestly too cynical about how good WrestleMania would be in terms of the Intercontinental title picture. And I held my hands up. I said, WWE have completely outwitted me here with a great, great story. And a few weeks after WrestleMania, I couldn't have been higher on the Intercontinental title picture. I thought it was the best booked division in all of pro wrestling, the best booking in all of pro wrestling. I love the idea of like real high stakes competition overlapping with true human interest stories, like really sophisticated character development. And now it's just become a bloodline retread because that works. And, you know, I mean, it did work. The crowd are making a lot of noise here. And it just feels like a really good story in Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn has barely been told. It's now a subplot to Chad Gable versus Otis, which is basically, again, a bloodline retread. And in order to tell this story and de-emphasize Chad versus Sami, which in itself it's a bad mood for me. They really had something, a bad move. Like, this Chad Gable guy's an idiot. I understand, right, to a point, his barking orders stuff and why he was doing it like about a month, maybe 3 weeks ago. The idea is that he thinks Otis is a loser, that they're all clowns. Akira Tozawa's never won a match in his like last 5 years or whatever it was. And he, wanting to get more serious now, because he's a bad guy, has said, you need to get serious. Stop doing the worm. Stop like shaking about and stop all this stupid theatrics and appealing to these idiots in the crowd and be killers and be ruthless and don't pander and don't entertain.
And he's like not looking inwardly because he's lost.
Exactly.
He's kind of like masking his own insecurities and all the rest of it.
Indeed, definitely. Otis wasn't even pissing about here. Chad Gable, an idiot, it's just cost him the match.
Annoys me that. Wrestling does this. It forgets that detail about, well, hang on, why
they've lost sight, basically. They've lost sight of why he was interjecting and all the rest of it. It made a bit of sense-ish. But I wasn't even that high in it. Now I'm even lower. I mean, the match will be hot as balls.
Yeah.
Sick of saying that on a review episodic TV.
They've got to try and steal the show from another AJ Styles 5-star of this ish. Bar is set high.
I've been funny, like Clash at the Castle. Sorry.
Clash at the Castle.
It could be excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to watch it on tape delay. And watch it.
What's the...
What is the game that clashes with it? Yeah.
I think it's quite a good one. I think it's like Spain-Croatia or something.
Clash at the football.
Yeah, I mean, even if...
No, that's 5 p.m. 5 p.m. This is 7.
5 p.m. I don't even think the matches are great, but at the end of the day, it's like the fourth match of the Euros.
It'd be early days.
I'll probably the final rounds of the group stages, because 3 go through, there'll be very little drama. But when it's like when an international football tournament is so new, like you'll watch everything, or I'll watch everything. So what is it?
It's Germany, Scotland Friday night, and then your menu for Saturday is Hungary, Switzerland
At 2.
Spain, Croatia at 5, and then Italy, Albania at 8 p.m.
3 go 3. Do the winners get a bye or something? Is it?
No,
How's
it's
that
just
working
because they get the knockout stage is bigger.
All right.
Doesn't matter. All these teams are going to play each other, and everything. Really exciting permutation. Then England's going to win the whole thing. So, R-Truth comes out of the door backstage. He's been seeing a fortune teller. He tells the Miz they've got a title match tonight. Because the fortune teller told him it was his destiny. They're going to fight the APA.
This fortune teller and APA. This is a good payoff.
It's like, what are you talking about? The APA and fortune telling isn't real. But turns out it was Scarlett Bordeaux reading his fortune. She says it was a pleasure. And AOP, oh, that's the one. Looking forward to seeing you both.
Stop laughing. Stop laughing at R-Truth.
I was going, fortune teller, APA. What? I was with Miz. I was like, what are you talking about, R-Truth? And then it's, And like I've told you, I love this version of like Karen Cross and the Losers. They're a good old bunch of idiots.
I tell you what. For the first time in his goddamn life. Actually, no. Because he did the Jesse Ventura impression.
Yeah.
That was goated. For the second time in that man's goddamn life. I cannot believe I'm saying this. Karrion Kross popped me on Raw.
It's like the same. It got me last week,
In
and I
the
was
match.
like, I don't wish to admit this, but I think I enjoyed them.
Scarlett also gave Awesome Truth the death card.
Yep.
Is that good?
The APA.
APA to AOP.
Got me.
But if you're feeling a little bit spooked out by that, don't worry, because it's time for the Raw Riddle. Should I use this? I feel like we're not had much Jeff Hardy stuff, so maybe time for the Raw Riddle.
That's perfect.
Check it out, man.
And
It's
I'm a spooky ghost.
This does feel like it could be like Final Testament adjacent every week. And suddenly we're like, I can't wait for it there on the show, because then we do the Raw Riddle.
So I asked you both yesterday on the Raw
I've
preview.
forgotten it.
Where does today come before yesterday?
Yesterday.
Where does today come before yesterday?
I was thinking of song titles. It can't. It's nothing to do with the actual periods of time. Is it this much we know? You know, Stax pulls faces like that when we get close to getting his jokes. You do know that from the Tuesday podcast.
Yeah, I do, actually. Looking forward to seeing him today.
You might get predisposed. You might be busy, because that happens a lot.
It does happen a lot. Usually Wednesdays, but Tuesdays.
Yeah, no, gravy. Golden, usually on a Tuesday. I've got any idea about this, you know. When does today?
Where does today come before yesterday?
Where?
Oh, where?
Nicholas, any ideas? Any idea? Oh, you might have seen the chat yesterday, I suppose.
He's got something. Yeah. This is a confer, not an answer. A confer, not an answer. It's not the real quiz. What are you doing?
Covering up any expression.
I was going to say when, right? And I was thinking of like, well,
See, it's all in the eyes. Chico.
I was thinking when. I was thinking the alphabet. So could where be the dictionary? Today begins with a T, and yesterday begins with a Y. Where is it? Where?
Where does today come before yesterday?
A dictionary. Dude, I feel alive.
No, I'm happy for you. I'm thick. I couldn't get it.
Join us
God, the
next
Raw
week.
Riddle's class.
Join us next week for another Raw Riddle. Cold.
The Raw riddle gives me the creeps.
Oh God! Imagine if Nightbeard's first act is just beating the out the Final Testament. Karrion Kross has finally got something. Oh, there's more dark characters. That's us finished then.
Better not start doing riddles. That's my thing.
Oh God, yeah.
Let's Google the first result on Google's thing.
Well, we will face you, Drew McIntyre. Where today comes before yesterday. Okay.
In a dictionary.
Yeah.
I can think of 101 match types for all ages.
I told you before, my brain's so broken. Sometimes just type in raw riddle on my computer's like, what are you talking about? They show a tweet from Cody Rhodes. He's going to NXT tonight.
Oh my God.
What are the chances?
We're going to talk about that. Speaking of brains being broken and just completely rewired by this podcast, right? My daughter today asked us like a question. Like, is it? Like, I can't remember what it was, but it was like, is the answer to this? And I went, you're a winner. Ding, ding, ding. And she got obsessed with it to the point where she was just asking questions. Like, this is good because when they're in a good mood and they're into something in the morning, it's like, right, okay. It's like, can you get dressed in like less than a minute? Clock out. Ding, ding, ding. You're a winner.
That's amazing.
So hope, I mean, she'll get bored of it tomorrow.
You'll have the kids go to
even though you've been doing it for a month, my shoot.
Well, we can all do it with Dadley Ding Dings, I suppose we could call it.
Yeah.
Execute you. I'm gonna execute you one of these days.
You inadvertently do a podcast bit you hear, and one of your kids goes, that's good stuff, Dad. That's the good stuff.
All I'm saying is, I hope
Dadley
that,
Ding-dings. Hit your, go outside,
the front door.
Hit an inanimate object for the Dadleys.
Say
Hit your
thank you.
don't
tributes.
do it for me. Don't do it for me.
Pots of podcasters.
Hey, don't call us heroes. But, bang your bin. Zoey Stark and Shayna Baszler took on the Unholy Union next. Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn. Triple threat, obviously, on Saturday for the women's.
I forgot
tag
about
titles.
that. Yeah. I forgot it was a triple threat. I just thought this finish was like, what?
Yeah, Bianca and Jade are there at ringside for this. And we get a promo from Fire and Dawn promising to win the titles and saying they should have been in this spot a long time ago. They target Baszler to start off with, drop kicking her an injured knee from NXT Underground. We'll talk about that on the NXT Battleground review later on. So they control Zoey Stark as well. They also hit a sort of backstabber swanton combo thing that they do to get a 2 count. Baszler made the save. But Baszler suddenly just fired up and started battering Alba Fyre. She was just stamping on her, twisting her all over the place. Fyre tried to target the injured knee again of Baszler, but eventually just got caught in the Kirifuda clutch, and the referee called it there.
Just again, the crowd weren't buying what the wrestlers were selling. The match was absolutely fine. To Sidge's point, I think not terribly effective as a way to promote the pay-per-view, particularly because you didn't buy either of the challenges. Now you buy one set even less. So not ideal as a bit of go-home fodder. Just, you've got to do it. Right? You've got to keep promoting these acts and trying to get this division over, I suppose. But you're going to get nights like this where nobody cares about any of it because they can see that it's half-assed.
Like, this is ridiculous, this. In terms of the actual action, I mean, yes, someone sold a match that they were in previously. I mean, this is bare minimum stuff. I'm not putting that over. Need shot. Some of the moves here, some of the sequences, it was like they were wrestling through treacle. Just there was no snap whatsoever. This goddamn finish and the reaction to it. It wasn't so much that it was like a quiet or a flat crowd. Like, it was as if they were respectfully observing a minute's silence in the event of someone's death. It was like they didn't even, like the no-sold the finish. It was like, right, okay, no, you can't do anything. Just sit, stand, stoic, because you just pay your respects. Just stand there, wait for them to say, it's kick off now. Right. It was like they refused to even acknowledge that something was happening in front of them because they were respectfully observing someone's death. If you watch the bit where Shayna Baszler's like directing her glance towards the champions who are on commentary or whatever, and then the finish happens, it's like, I don't think I've ever heard a quieter crowd. Even the Thunderdome had that ambient noise. This was
there was no registering of anything here.
This is wild. Wild. I've never heard out like it. Gives me the creeps.
Well, we got a hype package for Bron Breakker next, and a tweet from former NFL quarterback Robert Griffin III talking about how Breakker was the one to watch. And then we got Bron Breakker versus Ilja Dragunov. Back and forth in the beginning.
Who's in charge, me or the devil?
Dragunov actually gets the better of him early on with some chops. Breakker bounces back, though, tackles him, and just starts punching him right in the face. So Dragunov paintbrush Breakker with a running boot in the corner. So Breakker thought, I know how to stop him. I'll send him throat first into the middle rope to take us to a break. When we come back, Dragunov fights out, but gets hit with a standing power slam for a 2 count by Breakker. Breakker's dogging Dragunov's head, basically, by just hitting him in it as hard as he can, whilst getting him in chin locks and stuff. Dragunov escapes, boots Breakker, clotheslines, Constantine special, comes off the top rope with a knee to the forehead. There's a German suplex, series of German suplexes, but Breakker fights out of a powerbomb. It's a back body drop. Dragunov gets Breakker up, Death Valley driver right into the bottom turnbuckle. Breakker's stunned, so Dragunov goes coast to coast with a drop kick, hits the senton splash that Breakker kicks out. Looks like Dragunov's in control, builds up ahead of speed, and then gets his head taken off by a Steiner line by Bron Breakker.
I've just had an idea for some content, so you just carry on. I'll write it down, otherwise I will forget.
He sets up with a spear, but Dragunov hits a knee. He hits an H-bomb, but he's just racked with pain at this point. So they spill to the outside. Dragunov kicks Breakker over the commentary table, attempts to suplex him on it, but Breakker blocks it and drops him ribs first on the table. He lifted up Dragunov on his shoulder and does the thing where he runs him into the ring post. Dragunov tries to fight back. Breakker hits a spear out of nowhere in the ring, cuts him in half. Dragunov rolls to the outside. You're not safe there, pal. Another big spear from Bron Breakker.
Oh my
He's
god.
even better than the one in the ring.
He pulls down the things, and Dragunov's rolled back in the ring, and he does the thing where you're just like, oh God, which side's he going to hit him? He's going to kill him. Bounce off the ropes. Huge spear. 1, 2, 3. Bron Breakker gets the win. It looks like afterwards he's going to spear him through the barricade as well. He does the run round ringside. But Ricochet flies in with a diving kick to stop that from happening. I loved this.
Oh my
I
god.
think it's because there was loads to love. I want to put over specifically that we've talked about this before. It's not as easy as it looks to agent these monsters to just be monsters all the time. There are elements of it that are easy, and it's a benefit when your guy runs 100 miles an hour or has like the aura of a Goldberg or whatever. But that doesn't necessarily just mean it's an easy day to work. Go out there and do what you do. Not everybody can do it. We've seen bad squashes, bad monsters, all that sort of thing. So full credit to kind of everybody involved in like Project Bron Breakker at the moment. We talked about like he's been earmarked as a standout star with the Netflix thing. Feels to me that they don't want to use a specific word there, and it's WrestleMania, like in WWE, but also Triple H's pattern booking. It wouldn't be this coming WrestleMania that you would be thinking Bron Breakker for a world title. It would be the next one. I think that's getting accelerated, and why not? Like, let's see how far we can go with this act, because matches like this, I think, are proof. It doesn't need to go loads longer, but when it does, we've ironed out some of the kinks in that act in NXT when he couldn't go long.
He was 2003 Goldberg.
They were killing him out there with the agent in, and
Yeah.
they're not now.
Yeah.
You know, this is what there's like. Obviously, he was yet to unlock some of the things he recently has, but nonetheless, they were killing him with that agent in. This was again evidence that like they're beating Ilja Dragunov all the time, and he's getting more over with every loss because it's suiting the characters to just keep on fighting. So he's getting more and more over. He's been a success story of a call up, and he's lost more than he's won. So again, it's like restoring that feeling of they're actually going to trust. You can trust the process here. Like Ilja Dragunov's going to be a somebody, another one that's probably a shoe-in for Money in the Bank, despite the fact that he's eaten some losses. He'll win his way into that ladder match. So this was just, I don't know, like this was thrilling for me in terms of watching Bron Breakker and getting all the kicks you get from a Bron Breakker match, but also the feeling of this is a well-booked show full of people I like. I want to continue to back the Fed and back the product and back the mid-card because I'm watching stars getting made, and I get that from watching stuff like this.
Yeah, I wish the crowd was more up for this. Like this, like every match is worked to get a reaction, a loud one, all going well from a live audience. This was crying out for like almost a sense of like alarm
Yeah.
on Dragunov's behalf. Like you wanted to hear an eerie disquiet. If that makes any sense, I just heard very little.
Or at least like the Christians and the Lions and the roar of more. I just want to see more of this carnage,
like bloodlust or eerie disquiet. And you didn't really get that. Everything Bron did look great. Hopefully this continues to work because the guy is like a total machine in there. And his pamphlet very accurately says way better in this heel role than his 2003 Goldberg. If in case, right, any new fans of Ilja Dragunov's who've become conditioned to receive him as this sort of like Doyen ace figure, because that's what he was in NXT 2.0 in effect. This guy is phenomenal in the ring. And if you've watched him chase Walter/Gunther for as long as he did, you know he can do this role. You know he can eat loss after eat loss, be the guy who can get destroyed off a Bron Breakker, and he's going to be fine because he can do both roles. He can play the chaser, the guy who just is indefatigable, relentless underdog, and this ace who can make Trick Williams look like a megastar, for example. So I understand it was like a bit of a concern, troll, bad faith discourse in the wake of the Jey Uso thing. This feels like another result hasn't gone his way, but he can do this role as well. Like Dragunov will be just fine.
More on Bron Breakker in a little while. So the Judgment Day are all chatting. Who's got Liv Morgan's key card? Who's got a hotel card thing? It's on the table. Priest says that I trust Dom. Take care of business. Put your foot down as it relates to Liv Morgan. And whilst they're all celebrating or, fist bumping, Finn Bálor just takes the card and puts it in his pocket.
I love this story. I need to know what's going on. Plotting or sex? I need to know.
Why not both?
Could be both. Could be both. Put your hands together. Put your bodies together. But I don't know. But I love this story.
Right. Wilborn, I think I've worked something out. Okay. You really like it when two characters in a professional wrestling promotion appear to be like imminently about to have sexual intercourse with one another. But the thing is, you don't know if it's going to happen and you want it to happen. And certain obstacles get put in the way of it happening. Do you know there's an entire genre of film and television like that exists for this exact purpose, and you don't have to have it like interfere with the pro wrestling.
It's wrestling out of the way.
That's the thing. Like you get that, and you get no wrestling, which you're not really into. It doesn't seem like. Yeah.
Check this out.
You get romantic comedies.
Jim Carrey done any?
Yes, hasn't he?
Yeah. Would you say Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind's a rom-com?
Not really.
It's a sophisticated rom-com. It's still obstacles, and then you find out that all isn't what it seems.
Yeah.
I watched the thing you get finger blasted in the carriage on Bridgerton. Is that it? Is that what we're talking about?
That's more of like, I don't know, I've never seen Bridgerton. But the whole idea...
Check it out.
The whole idea of like, you want it to happen, but you also want to think it won't happen because that'll make you want it to happen even more. And it's like, will they or won't they have sex? What's a romantic comedy?
I'll check it out.
They're quite popular as a genre.
All right.
It's out of pocket.
Yes Man. Jim Carrey was in Yes Man.
Oh, dreadful film as well. Dreadful film. Yes,
The Danny Wallace book.
All right book. Bad film, I think. Zoe Deschanel was in a lot of stuff there, wasn't she? That was the Deschanel era.
Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
Yeah.
Like 500 Days of Summer around that sort of time, yeah.
New
See,
Girl.
I've seen rom-com.
I just remember the names of films.
Okay.
And Bridgerton.
On Bridgerton.
Just when he
This
was
period drama just got good. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre are backstage talking about their future plans.
You're incorrigible. And horrible.
McIntyre said he should be there on Saturday when I come world champion. Sheamus said basically Ludwig Kaiser had the mother and father of all receipts coming to him after last week. He's going to win Money in the Bank. And McIntyre says, "Ooh, don't cash in on me without telling me in advance." And
It's
they
Gunther
said,
and Jey Uso.
Yeah, like, where are they? I also want to know this. I'd want to know if I was in that crowd, and that's maybe why I would sit there silently during a tag match. Going, I'm not getting involved. I want to say yeet and do this with my arms.
Yeah.
Again, this is like Drew, like babyface for the night a little bit. I'm still mates with Sheamus. It's also fine. Like, he's going to do something really nasty to him soon, isn't he, Drew? Like, it's going to be really horrible.
Mm-hmm. Tag team title match. Awesome Truth versus AOP. Prior to the match, Cross cuts a promo talking direct to Xavier Woods, saying that maybe when AOP win the tag titles, you realise you're better suited for the Final Testament after Kofi abandoned you. He didn't abandon him, did he? He got knocked off the apron.
These stink, and I think they know it.
Yeah.
Paul Ellering was pulling some faces this week. Yes. He's very Tamatonga coded.
Obviously, AOP dominates, but Truth comes in and hits John Cena's moves. They try and do the double 5-knuckle shuffle, but Scarlett distracts and Karrion Kross pulls them out of the ring.
Doesn't just do that though,
Go
does
on,
he?
you take
Pulls
it.
them out the ring and then gives it the old... you know that you can either flip the bird or you can thrust your arm, your bicep, under the palm of your hand and give it the old... And then he was running around the ring going, "You can't see me, asshole, you can't see me." Karrion Kross's patter. When did that happen? Last week, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, it was...
Yeah, that was what it was when they finally won. Yeah! We did it.
Karrion Kross
Final
rules.
Testament.
Final Testament.
Are we Final Testament fans now?
I think so.
I am.
Yeah!
Drop that in every match and he'll be fine. That's your yeet, Karrion.
You can't. Final Testament say, oh, it's not very witty, Karrion, but I think it might work.
Final Testament. I'll go to
Bloodline. Roman's like, oh, I wasn't actually ready. Nobody said that for the entire time I had the title.
How bad are you?
I acknowledge you, Karrion.
I acknowledge you.
So that took me a second.
What?
That's the second I acknowledge you. Really, it took me a second there.
I acknowledge you.
Oh, God.
Kofi and Xavier run down.
He's like, New Day. The class.
I think you really won me over.
Oh, God.
They tried to.
Everyone gets over in this era. Fair.
They do.
This is the ultimate Too Cool and Rikishi. This isn't it? Like where the product's
It's not really, but
even Final Testament found a way on one podcast.
yeah.
They hit Aiken with the belt. It doesn't do anything.
Got that F t-shirt. It should be an F.
I'm a feud with Kevin Owens. He's got the key on the t-shirt. Karrion Kross has got F.O. at the same time. Hey, Kevin Owens, f*** off!
Start doing low blows, everyone. The Rock puts him over. He goes, I like you guys. Yeah, I'm into this.
Out of the way, you, to Gallus. To
He
Gallus.
was doing bump class with AOP.
Yeah.
The final boss with the final testament.
Oh, the Final Testament. Yes.
Yes.
Miz rolled up Aiken.
Joe Coffey.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Oh, Christ.
So Miz
Death
rolled.
Rebel hybrid theme. With their Tech 9 face off. We're gonna off. We're gonna rumble. I'm gonna tell you to off. We're gonna rumble. So what's my mother off?
Like when a kid just go out and do one thing and it kills everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Done.
You've done it, Karrion.
You're over.
You've done it. You've done it.
Miz rolled up Aiken and all this, by the way.
There's
The wrong
match of the
result.
year.
Wrong result.
Match of the year.
The AOP, if you ask me.
Yeah, match of the year.
Match of the year. Oh, how do you follow this? Oh, I've just remembered. Ricochet's helping Ilja Dragunov through the back. It's my favourite spot. This. And suddenly,
Oh my God.
flies in, spins Dragunov through a production crate. Ricochet's like, hey. They brawl, and they fight to the outside. And I was sat there thinking, oh my God, there's a production truck and then all the WCW stuff. And he did the thing. He lawn darted Ricochet into the side of the production truck.
Oh my
Took a
God.
rough old bump.
Yeah, shh. You know what this is giving? I don't think they realised how this is going to go. Like, Mike got the back of his head on that concrete. It was giving Mick Foley's Nestia plunge.
Oh.
You know, if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's tit. It's Cactus Jack versus Mil Mascaras from an old, can't remember the number, but it's from a Clash of the Champions. Yeah. And it's that WCW, there's just concrete everywhere.
Bro, what?
Because Mascaras won't do a thing. Doesn't want to do anything, take any bumps. So Cactus Jack goes, well, what if I take enough bumps for both of us, as he was wont to do?
Yeah.
And he gets hit off the apron onto the concrete, flies off backwards, and the back of his head goes. It's
God,
horrible. And you get that it's just this horrible, the whitest spit you've ever seen. And it's like, I don't know, a concussion spit or whatever. It's like all around his lips. And it's like, that's what it looked like when Ricochet took this.
I always think the one when he takes the like massive back bump off the ramp against the Nasty Boys, but the finishes him getting hit in there with the spade. So like the camera almost misses it. It's like, game with the spade. Like, is he dead yet? I don't think so. Finish the job, no abs.
Finish the job.
So
Get him, Nabs.
Ricochet.
Got it, Six. Nasty Boys were good.
They were kind of good until they were terrible.
Yeah. Like the most underrated tag team of all time, I think.
So he's lawn darted him into the side of the production truck, picks him up,
Right, Six.
picks him up,
You got it.
and power slams him through the front windshield of a car.
Didn't look as good as the first one, to be fair.
What? No, the first one was just the way he I like how he decks people from off screen as well. It's
so
funny.
good.
It's always someone like Dragunov as well.
Yeah, there's that clip. That's what it reminds me of. There's that clip of someone pulling in on like a canoe, and he's like, "Hey, get the beers in." You can just hear someone going, running along the deck, and then they just cut him in half. That's every Bron Breakker spear backstage.
Let's see that clip when we get back to the office.
Oh yeah, I'll show you. Ricochet's riding all over the place in pain. Obviously, he's been put through the windshield, and then we get a replay after a break, and Ricochet's he's been hospitalised. Basically, he gets loaded into an ambulance. Samantha Irvin is there, jumps in the ambulance with him, and leaves for a local medical facility.
Like quite a strong performance from Samantha Irvin here to be having to watch that on a screen and then get back there.
She sprinted in heels.
Yeah.
Saw the clip.
That's it for Ricochet.
See you later, guys.
See you later, Ricochet.
We talked about it on the Raw preview. If you want an in-depth thoughts on Ricochet, where he might end up, if it'll work out from etc., even though it's a Raw preview, that is still relevant. That Ricochet chat.
Fun this though. Very fun.
God, he's got to win Money in the Bank.
He Ricochet.
No,
I hope not.
Braun.
Yeah.
We can write Bron out of this. It's a match that it doesn't bury him if he doesn't win it because it's
Yeah.
not a pinfall and he could just be removed from the fray.
He's just awesome. I love him.
Something similar to the Last Legend spot where everybody's like, well, we're going to have to get him.
Yeah.
We're going to have to deal with this.
Main event time, Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor. If McIntyre wins, Judgment Day were banned from ringside at Clash at the Castle. But obviously no Samantha Irvin. So Pat McAfee stepped up to the introductions class, this called McIntyre, a big handsome bastard. Also said Finn Balor was representing the bum-ass Judgment Day, but did say Balor had 0% body fat. So
Who said all this?
Pat McAfee was doing the announcements.
Of course. I probably skipped it. I just got, are you in the ring yet? Yeah, let's go. Okay, let's go.
You're missing the best part, Sid.
Do you think I would like it if I just watched it all the way through?
Oh,
and
God,
just
yeah.
Didn't skip the
The
entrances.
production on the entrance is class.
The new Damien Priest.
Yeah.
Soft focus, whatever it's called.
I've seen it with the fire.
Yeah.
Skip now. I've
Oh
seen it
my
once.
God.
Well, why are you laughing?
Different buildings. Slightly different. This crowd didn't respond anywhere near as much as last week, for example.
Back and forth from Balor and McIntyre. Obviously, he stops a Balor bulldog by just being strong. Punches Finn to the outside. Balor Finn, as some people call him, actually. drives McIntyre into the ring post to ringside. That'll joke will make sense in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Bálor regained the advantage, but got dropped face first into the apron by McIntyre, and then gets thrown over the announce table, which they do a nice sort of slow-mo replay. I like those new slow-mo replays to take us into a break. We come back. Bálor traps McIntyre in an armbar, but he fights out of it. Caught an attempted power slam. Caught Bálor for an attempted power slam, but got reversed into a neck breaker. Again, another armbar by Bálor. So McIntyre lifts him up for the power bomb, hits clotheslines and belly-to-belly throws, neck breaker. Kips up. He's going to hit the Claymore kick, but Bálor counters it into a sling blade. Big dive. Bálor hits McIntyre with several drop kicks. He looks like he's in position for coup de grace. McIntyre stands up as he's positioned himself on the top rope and Glasgow kiss headbutt. Superplex, future shock DDT. Once again, he's in his sights. But here comes Damian Priest. Carlito and JD are running interference. That allows Bálor to recover. Drop kicks. McIntyre is in position for coup de grace, but McIntyre moves. Bálor rolls through from the coup de grace, turns around. Claymore kick from McIntyre. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre gains the Clash at the Castle advantage.
He didn't do much for me, this. Just wrestling happening in front of me. I'd have not had Damian Priest as part of the running. He's doing that. I don't need him there. I just want him there. Do you? Like what are you? Again, this is where I didn't...
I never know, man.
This is where the dynamics didn't work for me. And the match was just like... I think Drew has good to great matches with the right opponents. Finn Balor has Finn Balor matches.
He's got his...
Got to be in the mood for one, and I wasn't really here.
Finn Balor is... almost like Shinsuke, isn't he?
A little bit.
There's no thought that goes into his matches, really. There's the odd, decent counter, but he's basically not the same guy when he was Prince Devitt. Just right. I'm here to take over the world, and I think I've got the ability to do it. I don't know if that got drilled out of him under Vince, and you can't blame him. I think he probably realizes I'm never going to be the tip-top champ guy again. I'll come in, do me 10 minutes or so this was.
Something like that, yeah.
Felt longer.
Yeah. I'll come in, do my 10 minutes. Like, some of it was okay, a bit of an unvarnished, scrappy quality to it, but yeah, the days of Finn being a super worker are, I think he's just happy to do his job.
I like him in tags. Honestly, I think I prefer him in tag matches.
When he can do his...
Yeah. Does the daft stuff. Like, I prefer him there. Again, because like dynamics, he kind of worked at points like the babyface here in order to help the heel group. And when he has to, like, turn the energy up and he's going back to being babyface Finn Balor, like, I haven't really got that in you anymore. I'd rather see you be a bit of a bastard. So just didn't get much out of it.
But as you alluded to earlier, no Judgment Day at ringside for the title match now, but doesn't mean any other people can't show up.
Final Testament, for example.
And what would they say? Go on! And on that note, we will conclude. Let us know your thoughts on Raw in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch, you can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow our brilliant producer at It's Adam Nicholas. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Got the NXT Battleground review coming later on today and the preview ahead of tonight's episode of NXT as well. But for now, it's been the Raw review. My thanks to Hamflett Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.